What's up? I'm Josh. I'm 33 years old. Here's a story of how God truly works. I was at a Bible study at our men's group at church, and we were just getting full of just praise and worship and just full of the Holy Spirit. Didn't really know what to do with all that energy, and I was on my way home, and I was like, I can't go home. I got too much energy. So I was like, where do I go here in Angleton, Texas this time of night? So I said, Walmart. Why not? I was going to go in there. I said a little prayer and said, God, just give me the opportunity to be a testimony to you. So I'm at Walmart, my chances are pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm taking my cart to the stall there. Basically, what I see as I'm pushing it in the middle of a dark parking lot, nobody around, is a purse sitting right there in the top of the basket. It's a huge purse. It's a Coach purse. Anyway, I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, somebody's missing this. So I look around. I don't see anybody. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I look at a car to my left. Nobody's in it. I'm like, okay, what do I do with this purse? So should I take it inside, or really and truly I was trying to think about what to do, and I really in that moment just kind of said a little prayer, and I ended up saying that prayer, and something that told me, don't take the purse inside. You find out whose this purse is. I say something lightly, but it was, the Spirit telling me, take it upon yourself, take some time to look into this purse and see if you can get a hold of somebody. I ended up looking in the purse reluctantly. I found a medical bill. In the medical bill, there was a man's name with an Angleton address. I don't know where this is in Angleton, but at least it's in Angleton. I'll give it a shot. I'm going to return this purse tonight. Something just told me that's what I needed to do. Of course, I have a rent-a-car, so I don't have a GPS with me, but I do have a smartphone. Pulled up Google Maps and looked up the address. Showed me the location of the address, which was actually not too far from Walmart there. It was only about 2.5 miles, but it wouldn't pinpoint the actual house. It just took me to the street in a different neighborhood. I went, got in the car, was headed that way, get down there, and of course it's dark, no street lights. I'm having to drive real slow, kind of passing each street, thinking, okay, is this the street? I made about 3 or 4 wrong turns, but eventually I found the street. I get to the street and it's pitch dark. There's not a porch light on, there's not anything, and I'm like, how am I going to know what house number this is? Let me say another prayer. The Holy Spirit's guiding me this far. This is obviously not me at work here, so I said a prayer, and God to guide me to the right house. I was faithful in that prayer, and I knew that wherever He took me, that it was going to be the right one. So I just actually rolled up, did a U-turn, and went in somebody's driveway, came back, and I pulled up to a house, and it was the only house with a light on that I saw, so I figured it was a good enough choice. So I walk up to the door, and knocked on the door, and there was a little commotion inside. I could hear a dog barking, and a guy came to the door. He looks through the peephole, cautiously, like, who's at my door this time of night? And I was like, hey, what's up, man? He kind of looked at me like, what's going on? And he finally opens the door a little reluctantly, and was like, can I help you? And I was like, I asked him if he was the man that I had rehearsed on the medical card there, so I could say his name right. And he was like, yeah, how can I help you? I said, do you know? And I said, the woman's name from the driver's license. And he was like, yeah, that's my wife. What's going on? And I can imagine being in his shoes, what he was thinking. And I was like, before he could figure out what was going on, I was like, hey, I got a purse. She left it at Walmart. And he was like, what? So he yells at her, hey, you left your purse at Walmart. And she's like, what? She didn't even realize, which is funny to me, a little startling that she didn't even realize that she had left her purse, no telling how long ago, at Walmart. And she's just going around with everything going on and didn't even notice it. So she comes to the door and is like, oh, are you serious? You really do? And I was like, yeah, let me go grab it. So I go out there to the car, I grabbed it, bring it back, and she's just followed me out there just with this huge smile, just so thankful and grateful for getting her purse back and all her belongings, and knowing that, she went from, oh my goodness, I had lost my purse, to somebody brought it to me. This is crazy, without me even knowing that I lost it. The next thing is, I lost sight of the husband, and he comes running out, and he's like, hey, you have to, let me give this to you. And he has this wad of cash, and I was like, no, I don't want to take any reward. I just wanted to let you know that you do one thing for me, which is just to give God the glory, to recognize that it's because of Him that you have your purse tonight, because if He wouldn't have changed my life and given me what He's given me in so many ways, just through His grace and His love and what He's done for me, her purse would never have made it back to her. It would have been gone, and I'd have been spending the money somewhere. but I want her to know that because of him, because there are good people in this world, and those good people have Jesus in their hearts. I shared that with them briefly, and and I could just see it on their face how the moment had changed, and how they were taken aback and astonished by this stranger bringing them a gift, but not only declining a reward, but giving them that bit of a message or a ministry of what God has done for him. The girl was obviously affected first. She had started crying and kind of turned away and walked inside, and he was just like, man, he wanted to step in for her, so he was kind of like, you don't worry about it, man, she's just kind of having a bad week, and you didn't do anything to hurt her feelings, she's just having a tough week. And he went on to say that she had backed into her sister's car and tore the bumper off, and something had happened at work, and it was this and this and this, and we've all had those weeks. Just hearing that and having this happen to her, and I was like, yeah, man, don't worry, I understand. I was already so grateful and in my mind and blown away about how God had led me here, allowed me to return the purse to y'all, and I just wanted to share that with y'all on my heart. And he was like, yeah, man, that's not a problem. It's crazy to me. He kind of like walks around. It's like, it was so crazy to me how you showed up here and then you started talking about God and Jesus because somebody's trying to tell me something, and he was just shaking his head and was in disbelief. And I was just like, kind of could tell he was wanting to talk and wanting to get something off his chest. And he said that, last week he's at work. I guess superintendent or someone had come up to him and started talking to him about church, and he just kind of walked off out of the circle with a couple guys. The superintendent had noticed that he walked off and had asked him about it later in the day. He's like, why did you walk off when I started talking about church? He said, well, I don't go to church. I never have. Never been a part of a church. I don't know anything about church or the Bible, and I didn't want to be involved in something I don't know nothing about. The superintendent had obviously took some time to minister him in a brief moment, and told him a little bit about the Bible, and asked him if he could bring him a Bible, and he was like, sure. The next day he had brought him a Bible. He said he got it, he took it home and actually didn't ever even look at it. He just put it on the counter, but he said that just yesterday he saw it there, and something kind of stirred in his heart, that maybe it was time that he picked it up. He said he felt it in his heart, something that he had never felt before. At this moment, I'm just like really getting filled up, with just the Spirit. If you've ever been there, you know what I mean. It's just an amazing feeling of God working in that moment. I just began to share with him about what God had done for me in my life, and just all the awesome things that he's changed in a brief period of time. As I went on with that, he opened up even more and shared with me some very personal issues that he'd been going through, and some battles that he's going through in his life from his childhood on up. I mean, this guy was a complete stranger to me not even 10 minutes ago, and by God's amazing grace and love, he's opened up his heart and sharing his problems and the battles in life with me. He went on to talk about his wife and the problems that they're having and the problems that she's having. It struck me that I needed to share and plant the seed of salvation with this guy before I left. That was going to be one of the most important things that I did while I was there. So I remembered I had a track in my car that I carry with me, a salvation track that I put in my car. When I put my truck in the shop, something came over me at that moment, that same day. Hey, grab those tracks. You never know when you're going to need one. Obviously, I needed it that night. I wrote my name and phone number on there. I explained to him what it was. I just started praying over him as I handed it to him, and by the end of the prayer, he was crying and tears were coming down his cheeks. He was holding both hands on my shoulders. It was amazing. Only God could have done something like that, and work in real people's lives in real ways. And it was just, that moment will always be there for me. If anyone ever wants to doubt that there is a God, that how I could find a purse in a dark parking lot at a Walmart where people were walking by all the time, and not only find it, but to take it and find these people, even though it wasn't on their driver's license or wasn't, an address or a phone number. It was just this medical bill, and they were both there, and was able to find someone there that obviously God had been working on. God had been preparing their heart to receive salvation, to receive the word, to receive the gifts of my testimony, and just to accept it.